Been doing this for 30 years. Why the hell didn't you do it over the last 15, 20 years?
On the day when I was in the Situation Room monitoring the raid that brought Osama bin Laden to justice, he was hosting the Celebrity Apprentice.
Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump arguing at Wednesday's debate who has more valuable experience to be our next president. And it's time now for our Sunday group. GOP strategist Karl Rove, Fox News political analyst Juan Williams, Bob Woodward of the Washington Post, and Kimberly Strassel from the Wall Street Journal. Well, Karl, the conventional wisdom is that Trump was having a pretty good debate until he refused to say that he would accept the results of the election. Do you agree with both parts of that premise?
I do, because look, what matters is not just simply the debate, but the aftermath of the debate. And he guaranteed that all that good work that he did in prosecuting the case, that he was the agent of change and she was the status quo, was wiped out in the controversy that came as a result of his answer to that question. And it continued for several days more. I mean, the next day he compounds it by saying at a rally, I believe in North Kent, guaranteeing that the story would go on for yet another day.
And why is this such a big deal? Because people are saying, well, look at 2000, and which you were familiar with, and allegations of fraud. Why is it such a big deal way in advance, a president or a presidential candidate saying, I don't commit to respecting the results?
Because as long as we've had our republic, we have had a peaceful transition of power. Now, there have been moments of acrimony and division, 1876, 2000, but we have had this great tradition of the peaceful transfer of power. Now, look, I want to say something about the hypocrisy of some Democrats on this. The night of the debate, one of the most ardent voices on this was the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the ever voluble, ever heard from Jesse Jackson, who said, how dare he do this? Well, he was the guy who, even after the Supreme Court acted in 2000 and ended the election controversy, said Bush is not the legitimately elected president of the United States. I would remind people it was the Democratic House leader, Dick Gephardt, who refused to say Bush was the legitimately elected president of the United States, even in December of 2000. And we have dead-enders like Paul Begala and others who still go around and say Bush was not the legitimately elected president. So Democrats ought to be a little careful before they sort of envelop themselves in
dead-enders, the image of Paul Begala coming out of a cave in the Philippines somewhere. All right, we ask you for questions for the panel, and we got a bunch on this topic, and especially the coverage of Trump's answer. Philip tweeted this: considering the DNC history of voter fraud schemes, isn't it wise for Trump to wait for the election results to be verified? Kim, how do you answer Philip?
I think this argument that Trump is making is also a mistake, that there is widespread voter fraud, that this is rigged. It's a very dangerous argument to make. I mean, there is always some amount of fraud out there. We can't ever be perfectly certain with elections. But to go that far, you're suggesting that there's a giant plot to stop him from becoming president, and it goes along with the not accepting peaceful transition of power. That all being said, I think that Trump is onto something with his broader claim about the system being rigged, not from an electoral perspective, but this is something a lot of Americans really do feel. You know, they look out there, they see an Obamacare system in which they're doubling their premiums, but Congress doesn't have to take part. They see an IRS that has never held accountable for targeting tens of thousands of Americans. They see a Hillary Clinton FBI probe in which special deals are cut and she gets treated differently than any other corporate executive in which something like this happens. So to the extent he's now making that a theme in his campaign, I don't go so far as the electoral issue, but the rigging resonates.
Then there are the allegations about the Clinton Foundation and pay to play, which I asked Secretary Clinton about in the debate, and she turned into an attack on the Trump Foundation. But Bob, I want to go back to the conversation I was having with Robbie Mook before. When you see what seems to be clear evidence that Clinton Foundation donors were being treated differently than non-donors in terms of access, when you see this new revelations about the $12 million deal between Hillary Clinton, the foundation, and the King of Morocco, are voters right to be troubled by this?
Yes, it's corrupt. It's a scandal, and she didn't answer your question at all, and she turned to embrace the good work that the Clinton Foundation has done, and she has a case there. But the mixing of speech fees, the Clinton Foundation, and actions by the State Department, which she ran, are all intertwined, and it's corrupt. I mean, you can't just say it's unsavory, but there's no formal investigation going on now, and there are outs that they have. But the election isn't going to be decided on that. I mean, Carl was making the point about this, I'm not going to observe the result of the election. I mean, that's absurd. I mean, it has no consequence. If Trump loses, they're not going to let him in the White House. He's not going to have a transition team. And to focus on that, I think, is wrong. I think the issue is what's going to be the aftermath of this campaign. Can somebody govern?
We're going to talk about that in the next segment, but I want to bring Juan in because we learned from emails and these were emails that the Republican National Committee got through the Freedom of Information Act. These aren't the hacked emails. This isn't the fruit of Russia trying to undermine our election. That foundation donors seeking government grants for Haiti relief were being treated differently, being considered separately from non-donors. Does that trouble you?
Sure it would, but I mean the fact is in that case, which has been cited by Mike Pence, in fact, what the State Department officials said is, hey, some of these people are friends of the Clintons. But guess what? The bottom line, they didn't get the contracts for Haiti. But to your larger...
Some of them did.
Yeah, but it's very few. So it's not the case that friends of the Clintons were given these contracts, which is the heart of the suggestion. But let me just say, when you're talking politically, we're 2 weeks out from the election, is trust and honesty a vulnerability for Hillary Clinton? I don't think there's any question. I think it stirs Donald Trump's base. Lock her up. Trump the blank,
But I'm not talking about the politics of it, Kim. I mean, let's talk about the substance of what was going on there.
Look, you have to go back and remember what was happening here. This is 2010, the earthquake. The Clinton Foundation is tagged as a lead by the UN. They are collecting millions of dollars. We know for a fact from books like Peter Schweizer's Clinton Cash that lots of people who were foundation donors indeed did get contracts in Haiti. And there's a very bad feeling in Haiti against the Clintons. The former Senate leader in Haiti called them common thieves. And then you take what we just found in these emails, and we know that indeed they were segregating, an official at the State Department, segregating out people who were considered VIPs of William Jefferson Clinton, special friends of the Clinton Foundation. We don't...
Kimberly, that they were given all of these contracts. That's just unfair. And I think the idea that you would make an equivalence between what's been going on with Trump and all of the lies and corruption.
Let's talk about the foundation.
As if it's the equivalence, and it's not an equivalent. And I think the American people, when you look at the favorability numbers on trust, if Clinton is in underwater,
honestly, you're pivoting. Juan, you're pivoting. Why don't you talk about the Clinton Foundation?
I'm glad to, but I'm saying it's not an equivalent.
Can I just say this? The other email we were talking about is very clearly spelling out. Hillary Clinton said, I will go to Morocco if you give my endowment $12 million.
She was gone from being Secretary of State, Kimberly.
We actually don't know when.
Yes, she was.
Wait, but even if she was gone from being Secretary of State, she was running for president.
She was considering.
You don't think that the $12 million had something to do with the fact that she was running and was likely to be the next president?
Yes, that's what the emails reveal. It was a consideration. But the suggestion is that she made a quid pro quo arrangement.
No.
Give me the money and I'll show up and give a speech.
Well, she wasn't giving the speech for free.
But she didn't show up.
She got the money and she ran.
She didn't show up.
Look, back to Haiti for a second. Look, Digicel with Dennis Ross, largest Irish contributor to the Clinton Global Foundation, gets tens of millions of dollars at USAID. Coruscant Industrial Park, largest single grant, goes to Wong Kim of CA, gets $124 million from the U.S., $100 million from the International Development Bank, and a Clinton donor. There's a broader issue here.
Not only a Clinton donor, incidentally, he helped set up Cheryl Mills, the Clinton chief of staff. And
there's a real issue here, though, just quickly. She committed in January of 2009 to Senator Lugar said this is a
confirmation hearing.
At her confirmation hearing, this is a temptation for any foreign entity or government that believes it can curry favor through a donation, and John Kerry joins with Lugar.
Right.
Says
this is a long final statement.
Look, she made a commitment to avoid these kind of controversies.
We have to take a break here, but when we come back, does Trump still have a path to win this election? Plus, sparks fly at a charity dinner, so what do you think? Did Trump and Clinton go too far with their jokes? Let me know on Facebook or Twitter @Fox News Sunday and use the hashtag.